I'm Richard Muirhead, Managing Partner of Fabric Ventures. We're a blockchain or crypto-focused venture capital firm with several hundred million euros under management. We've been investing since 2012, and our portfolio includes Polkadot, SoRare, and Angle, amongst other champions and emerging champions across Europe. And we are backed by the European Investment Fund. What technology benefits more than 3 billion people for 80% of their waking hours every single day? Web 2.0, coined as such by O'Reilly and others between 1999 and 2004, moved the world on from the first wave of the web with static desktop web pages designed for information consumption and served from expensive servers to interactive experiences and user-generated content and conversation that brought to us Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, and Instagram. The rise of Web 2.0 was largely driven by three core layers of innovation: mobile, social, and cloud. With the launch of the iPhone in 2007, mobile internet access drastically broadened both the user base and the usage of the web. We moved from dialing up to the internet a few hours a day at home at our desktops to an always connected state. The web browser, mobile apps, and personal notifications were now in everybody's pocket. Until Friendster, MySpace, and then Facebook in 2004, the internet was largely dark and anonymous place. These social networks coaxed users into good behavior and content generation, including recommendations and referrals, from persuading us to share photos online with specific friend groups, to entrusting unknown travelers with our homes on Airbnb, and even getting into a stranger's car with Uber. Cloud commoditized the production and maintenance of internet pages and applications. New cloud providers aggregated and refined mass-produced personal computer hardware within numerous vast data centers located around the world. Companies could shift from buying and maintaining their own expensive and dedicated infrastructure up front to renting storage, compute power, and management tools on the go. Millions of entrepreneurial experiments could benefit from low-cost resources that scaled as their businesses grew. While the Web 2.0 wave is still bearing fruit, very much so, we are also now seeing the first shoots of growth, several $1 trillion worth of shoots of growth, emerge from the next large paradigm shift in internet applications, which is logically entitled Web 3.0. Web 3.0, which was originally coined the semantic web by Tim Berners-Lee, the web's original inventor, is an even more fundamental disruption, one that in time will leave everything hitherto in its shade. It is a leap forward to open, trustless, and permissionless. Open, in that they are built from open source software, built by an open and accessible community of developers, and executed in full view of the world. Trustless, in that the network allows participants to interact publicly or privately without a trusted third party. Permissionless, in that anyone, both users and suppliers, can participate without authorization from a governing body. The ultimate outcome of these new open, trustless, and permissionless networks is the possibility to coordinate and incentivize the long tail of work, service, data, and content providers that are the disenfranchised backdrop to many of the world's most acute challenges, such as health, food, finance, and indeed sustainability in an environmental context. Where Web 2.0 was driven by the advent of mobile, social, and cloud, as we pointed out, Web 3.0 is built largely on three new layers of technological innovation: edge computing, decentralized data networks, and artificial intelligence. While in Web 2.0, recently commoditized personal computer hardware was repurposed in data centers, the shift to Web 3.0 is spreading the data center out to the edge, and often right into our hands. Large legacy data centers are being supplemented by a multitude of powerful computing resources spread across phones, computers, appliances, sensors, and vehicles, which are forecast to produce and consume 160 times more data in 2025. Decentralized data networks, now what are they? They're making it possible for these data generators, from an individual's personal health data to a farmer's crop data or a car's location or performance data, to sell or barter this data asset without losing ownership and control of it, or giving up privacy, or relying on third-party middlemen. As such, these decentralized data networks can bring an entire long tail of data generators into the emerging data economy. Artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms have become powerful enough to create useful, indeed sometimes life-saving predictions and actions. When layered on top of this new decentralized data structure, this gives access to a wealth of information that would be the envy of today's tech giants, as hard as that may be to believe. The potential applications go far beyond targeted advertising and into areas like precision materials, drug design, and climate modeling. Web 3.0 enables a future where distributed users and machines are able to interact with data, value, and other counterparties via a substrate of peer-to-peer networks without the need for third parties at all. What is the result? A composable, human-centric, and privacy-preserving computing fabric for the next wave of the web. So much for the technology, but what difference will this make to the individuals and society as a whole? Well, how could this be even greater than the impact of today's applications and the impact that they've had on families, businesses, and governments? It has been said that the characteristic which sets humankind apart is our ability to organize ourselves in the pursuit of a commonly envisioned goal. Thus, it's pretty useful to cast our minds back in time, in fact, back in history, to identify 4 major social and technological stages in human collaboration. In villages, people could trade value, information, and work with a small group of counterparties they already knew. Their set of counterparties were limited by geographic proximity and also by personal trust bonds. This small scale meant individuals frequently had multiple roles in society, e.g. farmer, fireman, warrior, and father. Consequently, transactions were focused on food, security, and leisure, and included little coordination beyond largely self-sustaining families. In urbanized cities, the set of counterparties with whom people could trade this value and information and work increased significantly. It became economically viable to launch new specialized businesses, produce accounting at the level of that business, and rely on others to produce all the remaining goods and services required by the city's population. While some geographic restrictions remained, the larger spatial playing field and higher population density led to much wider coordination of skills across different individuals. Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 radically shrunk the latency and cost at which people and businesses could trade this value, information, and work with geographically distributed counterparties they didn't necessarily know via trusted intermediaries. Truly global businesses started to form as the reach of counterparties expand by a few orders of magnitude. At its heart, today's internet allows global coordination via a set of intermediaries, providing a digital social trust layer for strangers to interact upon, from Facebook to eBay to Airbnb. Unfortunately, we've become overly dependent on these platforms, and when they move from attracting users to extracting value, their users, whether individuals or businesses, suffer via higher fees or indeed platform risk or deplatforming risk, i.e. the platform has the power to destroy your business running on it. While today's interactions might magically and reliably take place on a global scale, it is predominantly the $200 billion digital advertising business with we the users as the product which fuels this machine. These platforms of the post-truth world have created echo chambers within which unfiltered and unashamedly populist or indeed fallacious claims reverberate and reinforce, sometimes with chaotic consequences. So with Web 3.0, women, men, machines, and businesses will be able to trade value, information, and work with global counterparties they don't know or yet explicitly trust without an intermediary. The most important evolution enabled by Web 3.0 is the minimization of trust required for coordination on a global scale. This marks a move towards trusting all of the constituent members of a network implicitly, rather than needing to trust each individual explicitly and or seeking to achieve trust extrinsically, i.e. with a third party. Web 3.0 will fundamentally expand the scale and scope of both human and machine interactions far beyond what we can possibly imagine today. These interactions range from seamless payments to richer information flows to trusted data transfers, and they'll all become possible with vastly increased range of potential counterparties, pretty much as required. Web 3.0 will enable us to interact with any individual or machine in the world without having to pass through featured charging middlemen. This shift will enable a whole new wave of previously unmanageable businesses and business models, from global cooperatives to decentralized autonomous organizations and self-sovereign data marketplaces. In this way, societies can become more efficient by disintermediating industries, reducing the rent from third parties and return this value directly back to the users and suppliers in a network. Organizations can be extrinsically more resilient to change through their new mesh of adaptable peer-to-peer communication and governance ties between all of their participants. Humans, enterprises, and machines can share more data with more privacy and security assurances. And we can future-proof the entrepreneurial and investment activities by virtually eradicating the whole risk of platform dependency or deplatforming that exists today. We can own our own data and digital footprints by using provable digital scarcity around this data and these tokenized digital assets that are native to the networks. And through modern mutual or collective capitalism, ownership and governance of these new decentralized systems of intelligence and sophisticated and dynamic economic incentives, the participants in the network itself can collaborate to solve previously entirely intractable, or where we like to think of it, very thinly spread problems. So mutualized ownership can include financial backers, and they could provide the capital, first in exchange for equity and then in exchange for tokens, to bootstrap these networks into existence. And so this has matured unrecognizably since the heady days of the 2018 ICO boom. The forthcoming wave of Web 3.0 goes far beyond the initial use cases of sound money or cryptocurrencies. And it's moving into the broader open finance space, open media, healthcare, and the whole world of work. Through the richness of interactions now possible and the global scope of counterparties available, Web 3.0 will cryptographically connect data from individuals, corporations, and machines with efficient machine learning algorithms, leading to the rise of fundamentally new markets and their associated business models. The result is akin to a return to the global village, daily immersion in the human-centric and highly personalized interactions from which we used to benefit, yet now delivered at a global scale of with the internet, and supported by an ever increasing myriad of human and machine skill specializations. The greatest obstacle to this is the very significance of this paradigm shift and the consequences to the incumbent centralized organizations. Thank you.